Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Everybody's awake. Not too much fun last night out in Boston. At these conferences, I always remind people it's a school night, but glad to have you with us. My name's Rob Thornton, and I'm the president and CEO of IDEA. If I haven't met you, you'll be tired of hearing from me through the course of the day. Really a pleasure to welcome you to our 37th annual Campus Energy Conference at IDEA. It's great to be back here in Boston. It's actually hometown for me. So I really are pleased to have the turnout we did. I want to start by thanking our loyal sponsors. These are the organizations that make investment in IDEA. And at the diamond level, and the sponsors of last night's event at Putt Shack, I don't know that we have a winner from Putt Shack, but I know it was getting pretty competitive. But I'd like to thank, if you're from Cordia Energy, Cordia, if you'd please rise and let's recognize our friends from Cordia. Anybody from Cordia? Here we go. There's a good group. Earl, team. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Really leading the pace. And they were our hosts last year in San Francisco. And interestingly enough, we're like a bad penny. We keep coming back. They're going to be our hosts in Minneapolis in June. So Cordia, thanks so much. I'm kind of like that guy that keeps sleeping on your couch, I think. I'm sorry, let me back that up because I do want to thank our friends from Dubai, our good friends, our colleagues from Empower, came all the way from Dubai. If they are here in the room, if you're from Empower, would you please rise? We can say thank you, Empower. I mean, it's a 12-hour time difference. I wouldn't blame them for. We'll see them at lunch too. Okay, great group. And then our sponsors of the business partners reception last night: Centrio, Eaton, and Johnson Controls. Let's give them all a nice round of applause. World-class organizations. The folks that got you caffeinated this morning really supported your breakfast. Brightcore and IC Thomason are now a Salas O'Brien company. Let's give them a nice round of applause. And our sustaining sponsors. This is a special category at IDEA. If any of you watch public television like I do, these are the organizations that provide annual support. They make a commitment to IDEA, which is quite significant and helps us really understand the resources we'll have to undertake these activities. So our sustaining sponsors include Cordia, Empower, Centrio, Johnson Controls, Burns & McDonnell, ChemAqua, Thermo Systems, and Trane. Let's give them all a nice round of applause, sustaining sponsors for IDEA. And not to be overly commercial, but just a plug. These are world-class organizations. If you have questions or concerns or anxiety or need help, these are the people that actually know what they're doing, they've done it before, and they're really here to be of help to you. So search them out. They're in the exhibit hall. And please, really that's the purpose of IDEA, is to bring people together so we can help each other. We've set a world record here in Boston. Over 1,500 attendees, including 560 attending for the first time. If you're a first-time attendee here, please rise, if you would. If this is your first IDEA conference. Wow. Wow, thank you. Thank you. Hey, it's great to have you. I hope that our days together are productive for you. And here's an offer. If we can help you navigate this event and get to know people, don't hesitate to ask me or anyone on the IDEA staff or anyone on the board of directors, really. We're so pleased to have you, and thank you for coming. Now, you came from 15 countries, 467 cities, different cities, 57 states and provinces. Last time I checked, Canada was still a province, but I think it's in the countries. Anyway, I won't go there. 115 campuses and over 585 organizations. So really, we're so pleased to have you. Thank you so much for coming. I'd also want to do a special shout out to the students. Here at IDEA, we had a special student program yesterday afternoon where we invited them to come with our young professionals group, learn a little bit about district energy, and get to know we had a meetup with sponsors, organizations. Tim Peer, who serves on our board of directors, mentioned to me, Rob, we did that meetup with these students. I would hire 6 or 7 of them right now. So good on you, Tim. And really, that's the intent, is to connect the next generation into the industry, help them understand that they can make a difference and make a living and really help move the needle. So I want to welcome all our students, over 100 students, not here particularly at this, but if you see a young person, reach out, extend a hand of friendship. It's very important that we make a place for people to help us grow this industry. All right, some housekeeping. If you haven't already, the network is Campus Energy on your Wi-Fi, and this is going to become necessary because I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, right? So take out your phones, if you bear with me. Make sure you're on the network, and the password is Boston 2025, all right? So get your phones ready. And we'd ask you, please don't take any photos of me or put me on LinkedIn or anything like that, okay, please? But no, you can if you want, but don't bother. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, there's the hashtags, so we'd like for you to flood social media with your content and what happens here today, if you would. Some hashtags for you. We have a new mobile app. It's Event Scribe. So if you go to your app store, if you haven't already, download Event Scribe, and then again search for the event. It should pop up CampusEnergy2025. Okay. So hopefully, Gordon, are you ready? You got it? You're okay. All right. So Gordon's all right. Now, why? This is intended to provide additional value to you, to be able to connect with people, have the schedule, look at content, etc. You can use this tool to learn about the presenters, look at their bio, maybe even determine whether this is one you want to sit in. Ask questions during the Q&A. So during that session, you can post questions. Can't promise that they'll answer them live, but in fact, you can start a discussion with presenters this way. And feedback. If someone really hit it out of the park, they gave a great session, really hit the needle, we'd like to know about that, and if this is a topic of great interest to you. And we'd like to know your favorite sessions, what was important. We really are trying to continue to improve the content so we're relevant and timely, and next conference is delivering the value that you need. And you can also view the presentation slides and highlight on the slides. Like you can make notes, so you can take them home, or if something was said and it really triggers something with you, put a note on the slide, share it with your team back home or here, and you can use that to follow up. So we're trying to give you a lot of, I think, value in your hands, and take notes during the presentation. Now, all the presentations you should know will be available in the mobile app after the conference, including the videos that our presenters were kind enough to produce in advance. So all of this content will come home with you and be available. So the good news is, I know there's 6 tracks, right? You can't be in all 6, and sometimes we get, I want to be in both, Rob. Well, send more people. But the good news is you'll be able to watch it on the flight or when you get home. Now, we try to make some fun with this too. We have a scavenger hunt on the app. There's a game. It's a lot of fun. It's basically to help you engage with our exhibitors and log it. You got to play to win, right? Like lottery. But we're going to have some really nice gifts you can take home, and these will be raffled in the exhibit hall tomorrow afternoon. But you must be present to win. So if you need another set of Apple AirPods, you're like me, you lost one walking the dog in the snow. So play the game, have some fun. And finally, we launched a new learning center. It's called learn.districtenergy.org. It's not really live yet, but it is the tool by which all of this content is posted. So in addition to the app, this will be an online resource for you, and you'll be able to go back to any conference that you attended and search and review the presentations that occurred there. Also, in the future, we intend to make this a learning center so that your staff, people that aren't here, can have the content available. And ultimately, we were looking for it to provide CEUs, so professional energy credits for you, those of you who are PEs that need that. So learn.districtenergy.org, and really I should have told you that there's a kiosk out by the registration stage. If you want to go and you can do a live demo, have a look, and see what we've got available to you and to our members. Now it's my pleasure to introduce to you the chair of IDEA, Joan Kowal. She's the Vice President of Business Development with Jacobs, a longtime member of the IDEA board. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Joan?
Thank you, Rob. Good morning, and I again want to welcome you to Boston. Really excited to be here. It's actually where I attended my first IDEA conference over 15 years ago. So I'm looking out there at the 550 new attendees and thinking one of you is going to be standing up here in 15 years. So excited to see who that might be. As Rob mentioned, we have 6 tracks, very excited to be able to offer all of that technical content. But the good thing is it's not all just technical. So we talked about, we were at the Women's Initiative Forum last night, that we're really trying to expand the interest and our education and outreach beyond just technical. So really excited to have people from other fields, encouraging everyone to ask questions, meet new colleagues and peers. I started my career in district energy as a campus energy manager and progressed now over to business development at Jacobs, but really excited just to see the energy transition and looking forward to the presentations we'll see. So again, ask questions, reach out, meet some new people. I also want to highlight that at lunchtime today, we're going to be honoring one of our past chairs and beloved colleagues, Patty Wilson. So just for those of you who will be at the lunch, happy for you to be able to celebrate her with us. So thank you for that. And with that, we're going to turn it over to our hosts at the conference, right?
I think so.
Okay, great. Thank you all.
Well done, Joan. Well done. Thank you. Well done, Joan. Joan is steering the ship and keeping the IDEA ship on course through the headwinds, the tailwinds, and the rough seas. I'm really pleased to welcome our hosts for the Campus Energy 2025. From Tufts University, Dana Weisbord, who's the Executive Director of Campus Planning and Chief Sustainability Officer at Tufts University, my alma mater. And Joe Collins, who's the Senior Director of Energy Resources at UMass Medical School here in the Boston area. So let's give them a nice round of applause, our hosts for this conference. Gentlemen.
Good morning. On behalf of my colleagues at UMass Chan Medical School campus, I'm pleased to welcome IDEA back to Boston. With so many familiar faces, today begins another showcase of cutting-edge presentations and exhibits. It is both a privilege and an honor to be asked by IDEA to co-host Campus Energy 2025, along with another top universities such as Tufts. And I'd like to thank the staff at IDEA, Cheryl, Scott, Tanya, Jason, Emily, and Heather, for all their top shelf coordination and patience. Our healthcare campus is located 44 miles west of here in Worcester, Mass. And anyone commuting will vouch that driving west in the morning on the Mass Pike is much more pleasant than driving east. The campus has been growing dramatically over the past 2 decades, adding close to 4 million square feet of research, primary care space, and clinical services, becoming a major economic engine for the greater Worcester area. In addition to high-quality medical care and clinical services, our campus performs vital research and healthcare services for the surrounding communities. As you likely know, the Boston region benefits from a strong medical and educational economy. Healthcare, bioscience, research, and related services are primary cogs in our economy, and the energy services we provide are vital to the success of our institutions. We are the closest operating district energy system to the IDEA office in Westboro. Our campus growth has been supported by 3 expansions to the central plant, which has continued to provide reliable utility needs for mission-critical hospital and research operation. Availability, reliability, and resiliency are key drivers as we operate a 17.8 megawatt combined heat and power plant, providing heating, cooling, power, and other services to our campus. We are a tri-generation plant making electricity and steam with the waste heat, then spinning 2 turbo generators in series for additional electricity before using extraction steam to heat our campus during the winter, and in the summer producing 5,000 tons of 42-degree chill water. Our efficiency is a combined result of excellent design engineering on the front end, backed up by the right equipment and contractor selection to install, and operated by the best stationary engineers in the Commonwealth. We have been active participants in IDEA for many years and are pleased to welcome the lucky ones to tour our campus energy system on Thursday morning. So many of our core vendors have evolved through networking through previous IDEA conferences, and we want to thank IDEA for enabling us to share our work and showcase the technologies and partners we collaborated with from here at IDEA, such as AZ Electrical, Waldron Engineering, Dresser Rand Siemens, York Johnson, Solar, Fraser Air, IceTech, Powers T&E, Zico, Wunderlich Malik, Green Harbors, Eaton, and many others. This morning, Rob will be welcoming everyone to Beantown. Come Thursday, it'll be welcome to Wista.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I love this conference. You are my people, so I am really, really pleased to welcome you to Campus Energy. I'm really happy that Tufts was asked to be an institutional sponsor. All right, let's talk about what we're doing here. The theme of this conference is accelerating the energy transition, and it's clear that this is both our challenge and our opportunity. And let's talk about that opportunity. Many of you who are here in this room understand that opportunity. We can provide more cost-effective, efficient, higher levels of comfort, and do that in a lower carbon way. So lower carbon, lower cost future. That's amazing, right? So I joined the team at Tufts right around the time that IDEA asked if Tufts would be a host institution for this conference. Previously, I spent many years at Smith College, and Smith's system, if you've seen the cover story on District Energy magazine, it's called Smith College's Ground Zero in the Geo-Exchange Revolution. That was awesome. So thank you, IDEA, for that shout out. I'm really proud to be part of that project. Some of my former Smith colleagues are here. Many of my current Tufts colleagues are here. And we're excited to learn with all of you, right? Because that is what this is all about, right? We know that learning doesn't happen in a vacuum. And this is when we designed the Smith College system, the best information, the best input that we got was from our colleagues. And in particular, and now I'm going to name names, and that's where I get in trouble later. So if you get mad at me later, that's fine. Just come find me. But I just want to say, Miami University, Carleton College, Skidmore College, Missouri Science and Technology, those institutions provided us with incredibly valuable information as we were designing the Smith College system. And so here at Campus Energy, this is that opportunity to connect with your colleagues, both institutional colleagues, consultant colleagues. And sometimes that means it's a formal time in a session. Sometimes that means it's an informal session in the hallway, maybe in the bar, right? That's the way that we connect. That's the way we build better projects. That's the way we can accelerate progress. And that's IDEA's value proposition, right? Let's go faster. Let's go better. All right. Quick shift of gears. How many of you are from outside of Massachusetts? Raise your hands. Outside of Massachusetts. Okay, so let's get this straight. You voluntarily came to Boston in February. Okay, I'm going to say you made a solid choice. And that's because throughout the Commonwealth, there is a significant number and diversity of energy conversion projects underway. And I particularly want to give a shout out to my former colleagues in the 5 College Consortium in Hampshire County in the Connecticut River Valley, Smith College, Mount Holyoke College, Amherst College, UMass Amherst, all institutions with projects underway at some level. And I know many of them are here today. But throughout the Commonwealth, I saw a great presentation from Greenfield Community College yesterday. Worcester Polytech has a great project underway. There's a new municipal system in Framingham, Massachusetts, one coming down the pike in Boston, and Vicinity has really ambitious plans to convert the urban steam system here in the city of Boston. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of activity. So we're really excited to share, and we're really glad you're here in Massachusetts to learn with us. All right. Tufts operates 4 campuses in Massachusetts. So again, some of you lucky folks, maybe not as lucky as those of you who go to Worcester, but some of you are going to come to Tufts on Thursday, and it's a 2-part tour. So part 1, you're going to come to our main campus. Rob went to college there. I'm sure it's exactly the same as when Rob graduated. And you're going to tour our cogen plant, but you're also going to have a session with myself and Rob McKenna from Silas O'Brien. We're going to talk about our future plans. We even have some students to come in to talk about the ways in which they are engaging with our energy plant and explaining it and explaining its role in a zero-carbon future. All right. Then, part 2, you're going to go visit the Vicinity Kendall E-Steam facility in Cambridge, which actually serves the Tufts Downtown Health Sciences campus. So we are very connected here in Boston. All right, we're really happy you're here with us. I applaud you for coming to Boston voluntarily in February. Thanks for joining us at Campus Energy.
So I have a small token of our appreciation coming to Boston. It's a nice cashmere scarf. There you go. If your neck is warm, you're warm. Joe, thank you. Thanks, Dano. Thanks very much. You bet. Well, thank you. Thank you to our hosts. And Dano let it slip. I did graduate. Really, I did, from Tufts University. And liner note, I actually had back surgery at UMass Medical a couple of years ago. So these 2 people mean a lot in my life. So thank you very much for your hospitality. So Joe and Dan are rolling out the red carpet. So we're going to do real quick before we get the panel started. We're going to have a live question, so a participant poll. So get out your phones, please. Get out your phones. Open the Event Scribe app. And if you have that open, if you go to Happening Now, this is happening. We're happening. Happening now. And then go to the plenary session. Happening now, it should jump right to plenary session. And then in the lower right corner, there's a Q&A, okay? And so if you've got that, ready? So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Because we want really to know the demographics of the audience and what's important to you. And this will help us for planning. So the questions are going to be, and you'll have 20 seconds to answer, all right? Which department do you serve? What technologies are you considering for your campus? We'll get to these individually. What are the principal drivers in your energy transition? Principal challenges, primary challenges, and what stakeholders are making life either challenging or better for you? So the first poll, and I think when I go to the next, so this question is, let me back that up. Okay, don't back it up. Thanks, Emily. All right. So it's on your phone, right? Which department are you in? No, is it there? Blank? Oh, heads will roll. Emily is blank? Hey, it's a new platform we just launched. Okay, hold on, just bear with us. 1 second. They're telling me in the back. We did test drive this. We really did. We really did. We good, Emily, or no? Jumping ahead? Should I jump? What are you seeing on your screen? Because I'm not doing it. Nothing? Blank? Blank page not available. All right, I got an idea. We'll move these slides into the lunch deck, and we'll try it again, all right? Emily? My team? It says it hasn't been started. All right. Presenter to enable the poll. Here we go. Try it now. You know, if you've been to Boston, this is kind of like the subway, the T. You wait, then it shows up, and then it doesn't work. So, you know, we're giving you a Boston flavor. There we go. Come on. All right. Just a little, you know, a little hesitation. So let us know what department. 14 seconds left, all right? Is it working now? Everybody good? Working? No? Still no? It's working there. All right, we're going to jump right ahead to the panel. Emily, we're going to try this again at another time, all right? I'm going to bump. Here we go. So we're going to come back to you with this because we think it's going to be valuable information. So now my panelists are like, oh boy, here we go. So let me welcome our panelists to the stage. And for those of you standing in the back, there are plenty of please, our panelists, if you'd come forward and take your seats, that'd be great. For those of you standing in the back, there's lots of seats here in the front. Come on, please come forward. This isn't church. We're not passing the collection plate. I promise. I am not spitting. Come on, plenty of seats. Come on, please. Please, come forward. Relax. You're going to be here for an hour. I don't want you standing with back problems. All right, come on. Make yourselves at home. Clearly, there's plenty of space. All right. All right. Okay. Got through that awkward moment, sort of. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our panelists. They include, to my immediate left, Bert Bland, who's the Associate Vice President of Energy and Sustainability at Cornell University. To his left, Jennifer Meisenhelder, who's the Associate Director of Construction Planning, Design, and Construction at the University of Florida. To her left, Jessica Prada Chanchara, she has a married name, but Jessica Prada, Assistant Vice President, the Office of Sustainability at Columbia University in New York. She was brave enough to come to Boston. We're going to give her some props. And then to her left, Rob Roman. Rob is Director of Utilities and Energy Services at the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, and our last year's IDEA System of the Year Award winner. Rob, welcome. And to his left, you just met Dano Weisbord, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer and Executive Director of Campus Planning at Tufts University. Thank you. Welcome, Dano. And last but not least, David Woodson, Executive Director of Campus Energy Utilities and Operations at the University of Washington. So I hope you have assessed that we have some regional representation, some scale difference in terms of scale of campuses, and these ladies and gentlemen are kind enough to make themselves available for questions. Now, we do have 2 mics in the center aisle. If you'd like to ask a question at some point in the process, please come forward. And I've prepared a series of questions to lob. And I'm going to start, and I'll join you in a minute. I'm going to start, would each of you take like 1 or 2 minutes to just share with the audience a little bit about the campus energy system, the scale, the size, the daytime population, and maybe some of the technologies that you currently have or are exploring. So quick liner notes. Dave, I'm going to start with you, and we'll work our way this way, okay? David, take it away.
All right. Morning, everybody. The University of Washington is located in Seattle. We're a large public research institution known for its focus on innovation, sustainability, and academic excellence. It's one of the oldest universities on the West Coast, founded in 1861. Daytime population, 50,000 students, faculty, and staff. 200 buildings, roughly 20 million square feet, including the UW Medicine Hospital attached to our district steam system, 5 boilers ranging from 1948 up to 2000, a central chilled water system with 2 plants, 11 chillers, about 17,000 tons of cooling. We purchase almost all of our electricity from Seattle City Light, and natural gas is our main utility for the production of steam. And it's our #1 carbon emissions for the campus, which makes us the 2nd largest public emitter of carbon emissions in the state of Washington. And in the state of Washington, they have a Climate Commitment Act, which has emitters like ourselves spend into paying for carbon, but it also means we can get proceeds back. We have a 5-part strategy to transition away from steam to hot water and to take advantage of some of our local resources, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
And Dave, I'm going to come back to you on that because, being the largest emitter in the region, there's a target on your back, but we're going to come back to that. Dano, what's happening with Tufts? What do you have?
We have everything. Yeah. So we have 4 campuses. We have about 13,000 students. They're split evenly between undergraduate students on our main campus and graduate students, mostly in professional programs across multiple campuses. On our main campus, where our undergraduates are, includes our School of Arts and Sciences, Engineering, and the Fletcher School of International Affairs. We have a central energy plant. It's Trigen. We have a 4-megawatt recip engine and we have central cooling absorption capacity and gas boilers. We also have 4 other mini districts on that campus, some of which they're all gas boilers, some of which are pretty old and cranky. And we have just gone through the process of sort of envisioning what our energy future might look like, and thinking a lot about, we do have space on that campus for geoheat exchange, and so we are thinking about a multi-phase, multi-step process to execute that on the main campus. Our downtown Boston campus, I mentioned, is on the vicinity steam system. We also have an art school in Boston, which is the School of the Museum of Fine Arts. And interestingly, the heating and cooling in that school is served from the Museum of Fine Arts across the street. So we're in a mini district there. And then we have a veterinary school in Grafton, Massachusetts, that doesn't have a district system, but really ought to. So,
True.
So that's where we stand.
So I live not far from the Grafton campus. It's a beautiful setting. My dog has had surgery there, so I hate to bring up the surgery kind of connections, but thank you. I really appreciate the Tufts Veterinary School.
You are very welcome. We're the second busiest academic veterinary hospital in the U.S. It's remarkable.
And I think the only in New England. So thanks.
Correct. Yeah.
Proud to be a jumbo. Thanks, Dano. Rob, over to you. System of the Year, University of Illinois, Champaign. A lot going on.
Yes, there is, and quite the size too. I love this part where, mine's bigger than yours, and we keep comparing notes.
Is there anybody from Texas here?
I brought some facts here. We are a public land grant institution, and we're ranked number 9 public university. But as you noted, we're number 1 in district energy in 2024. And yes, we keep beating that drum. Because of all the great people that work in our system, we've made a big deal about that, and we really appreciate the support from IDEA on that. It's been a fantastic journey. We got about, last I checked, 59,000 undergrad and graduate students, and I think we got about 30,000 faculty and support staff for that. 24 million gross square foot. We got 84 megawatts of electric capacity in our power plant, and about 18.5 on solar. 1.25 million pounds steam, peak demand of 550,000 pounds per hour, and 47,000 tons of chilled water capacity, with a 6.5 million gallon chilled water storage tank. I mean, there's all kinds of other things, 71 miles of electrical distribution, and we look at all of this history there. And it's going to be fun to get into the questions that you pose to us and how it's going to fit into the future.
Very good. Rob, well done. Thank you. And if you haven't seen their System of the Year award, all the content, it's a very impressive both system and value and economic engine for that community. So, Rob, congratulations. The Fighting Illini.
ILL.
Jessica, Columbia University, Morningside Heights, New York City. Tell us what kind of campus energy system do you have there?
Love to. Well, first let me say we're not the #1 district energy system, but our Columbia football team did win the Ivy League championships for the first time this year since 1961.
All right. Shout out.
Hey.
Shout out.
So Columbia University, thank you. Top academic research institution located in the northern section of Manhattan. We've got about 4 campuses, including our medical center. We're building our 4th. It's the Manhattanville campus, just north of our historic location. Columbia is one of the oldest institutions in the United States. It was founded in 1754 as King's College. And later in 1896, it moved to its current location of Morningside Heights, and at that time established its first steam system there. We are a private institution. We've got about 18 different schools across the 4 campuses, about 17 million square feet. Let's see, about 18,000 students, and 2 district energy systems, natural gas fired. 250 individual buildings, so throughout, making us actually the largest residential landlord and private real estate owner in all of Manhattan.
Wow.
I think I got all my stats there.
All right. Well done, Jessica. Wait, I just want to, so 1754 King's College, was that referred to in Hamilton?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. I won't sing it, but yeah,
Right.
you guys, that's great. So thank you. My son lives at East 105, so kind of a neighbor. Jennifer, Florida, big school, good football, pretty good basketball. What's happening at University of Florida?
Well, I don't think it could be any different from Columbia in north central Florida. Land grant institution of 2,000 acres from 1853. One thing that's been different is we were recently voted #1 in public schools by the Wall Street Journal, #6 by News and Report. So that's new for us, and we're very proud of that.
Yeah.
Yep, so 24 million gross square feet, supported by 42,000 tons of chilled water and 10 plants. We distribute steam at a peak of 210,000 pounds per hour. We have a wastewater treatment plant. We have $1 billion worth of research that all that critical infrastructure supports, and we never forget that. Yeah. Other than that, the political climate in Florida, it might be a little ahead of the game. So I feel like in some respects, we've lived through this change. I just want everyone to know that it's gonna be all right.
Thank you. Thank you for that sense of comfort. Thanks, Jennifer. Jennifer also serves on the IDA Board of Directors, and so we really are pleased. Thanks, Jen. Bert Bland, Cornell, Ithaca. What have you got? You've really got some pretty cool stuff.
Founded in 1868 by Ezra Cornell, centrally isolated in the Finger Lakes region in New York. Ezra Cornell founded an institution where any person could find instruction in any study, and famously criticized for teaching engineers and farmers at the time, teaching nursemaids for steam engines. That's me. So in 1904, we built a hydro plant, 1.5 megawatt electric in our gorgeous through campus. 1923, coal-fired central energy plant. Year 2000, when we shut down our chillers because they used ozone-destroying refrigerants, we went to the deep, cold waters of Cayuga Lake, 250 feet down, where it's always 41 Fahrenheit, so we can cool the campus with about 17,000 tons of direct cooling without the use of compressors and refrigerants, just heat exchangers and pumps. In the year 2009, we put a 8-inch high-pressure gas line 3 miles out to the interstate pipeline, went beyond coal to 30 megawatts, 2 combustion gas turbines, and we have 7 megawatts back pressure steam turbines. And we have about 15 million square feet. Since the year 2000, we've grown in square footage by 20%, but kept our energy use flat, and declining actually through very aggressive energy conservation. We have about 20,000 students, 10,000 faculty and staff. We have 28 megawatts electric solar on our farms outside our campus. not behind the meter, but outside, feeding into the grid. We have a Weill Cornell Medical College in Manhattan, and in the year 2017, we started up Cornell Tech on Roosevelt Island in Manhattan with 2 electric buildings, the all-electric all-electric ground source heat pump, Bloomberg Center, and a 26-story passive house, all-electric with air source heat pumps, residential buildings.
Quite a collection. Now, I think later we're going to get to the deep well, the 3,000-meter well you've drilled, so we'll save that good part for later, right?
It's not a production yet. So
Right,
we
yeah,
can
so
talk later, yeah. Yes, we can talk about that.
Future attractions. So the theme of this conference, right, and Daniel, you mentioned this, is accelerating the energy transition, right? That's why we're all here. So what does that mean to you? What is an energy transition? Does it mean electrification, decarbonization, efficiency? Is it like marginal improvements or full sweep game change? Who'd like to start the discussion on what is the energy transition? Rob, you're looking at me.
Yeah, the energy transition is what is important to our constituents, our customers. Right. And we see that as being our students and our faculty and researchers. They're looking for carbon-free solutions.
Right.
And they want that done yesterday, but they don't want to give up the money to do that. Oh. So therein lies the problem we all got, right? You know,
I see, magic.
I'm singing in the church choir here, I know that. But as we continue on this effort, as a lot of you have seen in the IDEA publications, University of Illinois is looking for new ways that we can produce our thermal energy, including the nuclear reactor that I remember at this conference, I think it was 3 years ago, we were in a campus thing and I said, what about nuclear? And they laughed at me. Last year, that was the most popular session that was at this conference. So we see this growth in this new era as being new ways of generation.
New ways of generation. And I also heard, Rob, carbon, getting at carbon. Jennifer, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so with very little political pressure, it means just doing the right thing for the campus. And recently, we've had a district approach to Holland Law with our partners with Siemens. It was an ESCO, which helped with the capital supply that we all need, and it had a huge battery, no pun intended, of solutions where we upgraded a chiller plant. We took a lot of deferred maintenance off the table by going into the building and looking at energy conservation, both at the plant level and in the buildings. There was solar thermal, which acted as preheat to the boilers. There were, a place to plug in your electrical car. There was solar, to cover your car. Yeah. It really was this full suite of things that made economic and resilient sense. So
it really was a full basket of investments, technologies. Would you say it was mostly aimed at electrification, or kind of tilting towards electricity? Would you say, or no?
In that particular case, we had 1,400 linear feet of steam pipe that was in very bad condition. Oh, okay. It almost looked like a dog tail feeding this small district. It didn't make economic sense to replace that. So with our partners with Jacobs, we turned that into a hot water district.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, very good. Wow.
So it was $35 million, more or less, but about $12 million in savings, which is how we paid back the ESCO.
That sounds like a good move. Very good. Interesting.
Yeah.
So another take on the transition. Dave, what does the energy transition mean in Washington?
Well, it's a little bit of all of the above, although I'm kind of triggered by Rob's reference to the being left out on nuclear, because I feel like, when we were talking about steam to hot water about 17 years ago, we were kind of like the kids that went on the last presentation on the Thursday afternoon of the conference type thing. And seriously, it's everything from the fact, everyone talked about their school starting in the 1800s. We have some really old equipment
Yeah.
that we're going to have to spend a lot of money on anyway.
Landmark buildings.
And
right?
so you throw on old aging infrastructure combined with, everyone's concerned on the electrical grid and how stable that may or may not be. And we're research enterprises that depend upon reliable, resilient electricity. And then throw on top of that the carbon aspect of using natural gas to produce steam. You have this convergence of all these things. And yeah, I'm a big proponent of we don't have time to be incremental about this. We have to do everything all together, and we need to do it now. We say accelerating, but that really means over the next 10 years.
Yeah, that was another kind of context here. Like, this sounds like it's continuous improvement. It doesn't sound like it's, okay, we got there, exhale, right? It's a continuous evolution. Dano, there's a lot of activity here in Massachusetts. So what is the transition as you're experiencing it here with all your campuses?
So let me come around to that.
Yeah.
Let me just start with, I often show students, I lived in London for a number of years, and I used to go see the Bolton and Watt steam engine that's in the Museum of Science and Technology in London. And that device unlocked the Industrial Revolution. That device improved the quality of life for the entire population of the planet, right? So in historical terms, when we think about the improvements that we can make, right? We're at a moment of when we think about electrification, we think about steam to hot water, we're currently using technologies. There was a portion of the Smith College system that dated to 1891, right? And those are technologies that we have the opportunity to update and really actually significantly improve and transition those things and really improve quality of life. We can make better environments for people to do the work that we do as institutions, research, education, clinical.
So it's a moment of opportunity from your position.
Huge opportunity, yeah. and as I mentioned in my opening remarks, I mean, we just have a ton of activity here in Massachusetts, and I think it's feeding on itself, and
yes.
we are seeing that kind of spread, and so it's really exciting to be part of that.
So there are some policy, I think policy wins in your favor. Jessica, I mean, New York is not dissimilar from Massachusetts in terms of some policy initiative. How is that playing out, and what does the transition, again, what does the energy transition look like at Columbia?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us too, kind of similar to some of our institutions, we have each of us different sets of portfolios that are really unique and different. So the medical center with really energy intensive buildings and a lot of lab and needing a lot of power. Then you've got really old residential buildings that are going to need attention of their own. And then you've got central plants. And so I think it's just a matter of, the way we're approaching it is, looking at each of those individual portfolios and trying to understand the steps required to divorce ourselves from fossil fuel over time. And I think what we're really starting to focus on is how do we do that in the least disruptive way, given that we're on such a dense, compact campus.
Right.
How do we do that for in the most cost-effective way, and in a way that really allows us to get to our goals the quickest? I mean, we've set some aggressive targets, probably not so different from many of you up here, but we're not that far away from them. So the other thing I'm really intrigued by is the organizational culture that allows us to really remain, flexible and curious about new technology that's coming out, or even existing technology that is starting to be applied in new ways, and finding ways to really, examine those, things, even vicinity was mentioned, just thinking about, the application of steam generating heat pumps is really, really interesting for very dense environments. So just that whole perspective of how do we remain curious and flexible.
So the energy transition is not just changing the supply to the central plant. It's not just changing, the prime movers in the central plant. It's also at the end user, it's like, how can all of these things, kind of converge? Because you have to deal with both at the same time. Bert, I just want to allow you to answer. So in Cornell, I think like New York, like Massachusetts, New York, these are states where there are, I think, some policy drivers, right? Coming from regulators and legislators, and certainly the stakeholders at your university. So when you talk about the energy transition, when Cornell talks about it, are you singing the same song as these other kind of groups, or what does it look like?
The context for the energy transition at Cornell, I think, is in the fact that there's a climate crisis.
Okay.
So that elevates the urgency and the passion around it. Our president made a commitment to a carbon neutral campus by 2035, which is tomorrow in infrastructure terms. So that's the context, a commitment like that.
Okay.
But you're right. New York State has the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act of 2019, which mandates certain actions, net zero buildings or zero carbon buildings by 2026, and carbon-free New York State grid by 2040. So I can keep going, but we're busy. So.
Ambitious goals,
Yes.
and you're getting it really from top down and bottom up, right? I mean, so the students, the trustees, your president, who's a new president in his position?
Interim new president,
yeah.
President Kotlikoff,
So,
yes.
so really sort of setting the objectives. So let me ask this. Let me widen the lens a little bit. So from the campus perspective, you're assessing, you're evaluating, you're looking at the economics, you're finding partners, you've got technologies, right? You kind of have a range of, you have a menu of options. Are the electric and gas utilities that serve you, in your region, are they experiencing the same thing? Is the energy transition affecting them and therefore affecting you? What's happening on a macro level? Anyone care to share there? David? Yeah?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so in the state of Washington, they have the Climate Commitment Act, which requires any public agency that has a district energy system to decarbonize by 2040. And most, if not all, of the decarbonization strategies are electrification,
Right.
which is resulting in everyone having the conversation with their electrical provider in the state of where are all those electrons and the wires coming from to do that. And so in our case, that's been with Seattle City Light. We see them, they see us as a strategic partner, and we meet every 2 weeks for like the better part of the last year. And we've seen them completely change their forecast of electrical demand growth in the region. Not just us, but everybody.
Data centers,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Centrio is also downtown Seattle,
Seattle.
system.
Right. So I heard you're having regular meetings with the Seattle City Light, and so they don't just treat you as a load to serve. You said they're treating you as a partner. So do they see you as a dynamic load, that someone that can help them manage peaks? Is that part of the dialogue?
That is a start. That's
Starting
in there, absolutely.
Okay.
But we don't really have the tools yet to
Yes.
be able to do that. But absolutely working together of what could that look like 5 years, 10 years from now.
Anyone else having ongoing dialogue with the electric utility provider? Dano?
We both have ongoing dialogues with our electric provider. We are trying to build a new. Massachusetts is in a situation where policy is being pushed forward and the infrastructure isn't yet caught up.
Right.
So we are building a new dormitory on our Medford campus, passive standard, all electric, and the grid isn't really ready for that. And so it's a very dynamic situation where we're trying to figure out how and who pays for that. We are participating institutionally. The Commonwealth has put together a Decarbonizing the Peak working group. It's multi-sectoral, and we are participating, and our plant is participating in that group, and our hope is to have that back and forth with the state, have that back and forth conversation about what is our role through this transition. Are we going to help fill those load pockets?
Right.
Are we going to be taxed? How do we plan forward given our existing assets?
And it's very important that you're in that conversation and not victimized by it, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
right. I mean, there really does need to be an injection of reality. So we'll come more to that. Bert, I want to jump to you on this because I know recently there's an article in the most recent magazine of District Energy, and if you haven't read it, you should. And don't read it right now, but Bert makes the point that the simple solution that we hear is, oh, just electrify everything. Right? Oh, just electrify. And the reality is, like Deno just said, the grid, the substations, the transmission, the distribution, they're not there. They're really not ready. Not that they're not trying, but what happens, Bert, if you just, okay, we're just going to electrify everything? Life is groovy?
So we're going to create a fossil fuel-free district energy system by shutting down our natural gas-fired, very efficient combined heat and power plant, throw that 30 megawatt load onto the grid, throw whatever the electrification of heat is, would be maybe 30, maybe 60, maybe 90, maybe 120 megawatts another load if it's like electric boiler. And does that decrease the carbon emissions from New York State as a system, considering us or not? So that's what that article's about. In fact, our two engineers, Jamie and Stacy Edwards, will be presenting this on Thursday, this conundrum. And you can stop me at any time.
No, I want you to
okay, so,
finish that one point, yeah.
New York State, as an upstate grid, is the cleanest in the nation. We have 3 nuclear power plants, 2 very large hydro plants, Niagara Falls and Messina and St. Lawrence. So on average, the carbon intensity of a megawatt hour on the grid is half what we can produce with, again, very efficient combined heat and power in the central energy plant, combined heat and power plant.
Okay.
But the marginal generator, if we were to throw that 30, 60, 90 megawatts of electric load on the grid, would be a combined cycle natural gas-fired central generation station, which would be twice the carbon intensity of our generated power. So that's part of our calculus. And go see Stacy and Jamie tomorrow and to hear more about it.
Very helpful plug. Stacy and Jamie tomorrow afternoon. Put it in, look at your phone. Listen, learn. Because really, I mean, this, in a way, the energy transition, we're sort of like the mouse in a box. Okay, decarbonize, electrify. And it's amazing, it's not easy to just get to the end, right? Particularly if the grid isn't where people, there's an expectation that the grid is already clean. It's already there. All the wind is there. And the reality is, it isn't yet, right? So it's a convergence. Rob, Illinois, a lot of nuclear, maybe. How are you sort of working with the electric utilities to understand the path to transition?
Honestly, not very well.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish we had such a good relationship. Yeah. And the nuclear, Illinois is really big on nuclear.
Right.
In the northern part of the state.
Oh, right.
So we're down in the MISO territory, and those of you in the MISO territory have been getting all the warnings about, capacity being hit. And then in central Illinois, we also have our local distribution company too. And we even were faced with the fact where we started getting some threats on the system, and we talked to our people there and said, hey, make sure you take care of us.
Threats being the juice you've been getting, you're not going to get?
Well, that's kind of what they said. They said, well, you're like the biggest load. Guess who's going first?
Oh.
So now, back in the day, we could island the campus, right?
Yes.
But we've grown accustomed to having that asset there and that benefit from our local distribution company. So we haven't exercised that. We're now working very diligently to get this system back online where we can parallel back and forth from the utility. That's a very risky venture in a research-intensive institution where the reliability is paramount for what we do.
Right.
But we also are facing that, our grid is actually dirtier than our campus.
Yes.
So we have our sustainability folks saying, you gotta quit using that stuff and make it clean. Use our stuff. So it's this back and forth, and then we have the front office saying, but that stuff's expensive. So again, I'm singing in the church choir, I know.
Mouse in a box. But if you haven't noticed, if you look at their titles, we have a mix of utilities and sustainability and planning, right? So maybe to Jessica, do you see, from a perspective, do you see sustainability offices looking at the energy transition differently, perhaps, than the utilities department? And moreover, how are those two, departments? Is there convergence? Is there cooperation, collaboration at Columbia? Are you seeing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that anything that we're doing around this topic needs to be done from a collaborative perspective. And I think that, over time, that's gotten easier. I mean, sustainability as a field, if we're talking about that, is fairly new, right? And so we kind of come onto the scene 20 years ago, and are a little disruptive, right? I mean, disrupting the natural order of things, in the sense that, we're humans. We fall into our lanes in what we do, and in this field, sustainability, we work across many different lanes. There's many advantages to that. I mean, that uniquely positions us to be able to really support the process and to be able to collaborate and to think about things in different ways. But I think that there's natural tensions with sustainability in most any department because of the way we show up. We're completely aware of that. I used to have a colleague from the hospital that used to say, when you show up at my door, I just wonder what it is extra that I'm going to have to do that's not on my plate and that I don't have budget for. So we're completely aware of it. But I think that finding ways to collaborate and move in the same direction actually can move mountains when that's possible. And so it's really important to be able to have a dialogue and to honor both sides.
I appreciate that. It seems to me like sustainability needs to be an interlocutor, right? So both interpreting what the rules are that are coming down from high, helping the utilities sort of learn and adapt, and maybe a time to be an agent to feed back to the environmental regulators, et cetera, that, hey, we know we have a big tier 1 emissions issue, but here's why, and here's what we're doing to make improvements, right? So it seems like you have to be both two-way and then an aggregator within the campus.
If I can add to that, and in many cases, in our office, we manage the greenhouse gas inventory for the entire institution. So a lot of the things that are happening and that are in the operations are being reflected in the inventory. So keeping the lines open to really understand what the data is saying. And to, interpret policy and to help shape internal policy, but with consideration and input from, colleagues that are doing the work is really important.
And it does seem it needs to be iterative too, right? So a policy comes down and maybe it's underinformed, well-intentioned, but maybe underinformed as it relates to Columbia or your institutions. And then, you have to be sort of mouthpiece back. Hey, Madam Regulator, you might need to understand that we are a mission. We're a research mission critical asset, and we need firm power. Jennifer, have you had? I know Florida is, it has some unique qualities, but the utility sustainability. How does that? Your experience?
Changed.
Yeah.
And I'd say for the better, honestly. We were one of the first adopters of a climate action plan that was up for update maybe in 2020. Ultimately, in the political climate, we weren't able to get that signed. But what the Office of Sustainability did was really take a kind of facilitating standpoint and looked at real pragmatic ways for utilities to capitalize on energy savings. It went inside the building. It brought in professors and student groups that normally people within facilities don't necessarily have access to. And they really created a comprehensive, pragmatic climate action plan. So even though we weren't able to get the president to sign it, it's so pragmatic that it's useful, and we're going ahead and using it. And it also opened up these channels of communication. And since then, the Office of Sustainability has physically moved within facilities and has a much better partnership with utilities. And to be honest, they seem to run interference with the students, bringing them in as interns, helping them understand the wider lens of utilities, and then ultimately deploying them for important tasks such as homogenizing the historian so that we get better data, so that we can capture the greenhouse gas improvements that we're able to make. So actually, I think at the University of Florida, it's a nice win for us.
Wow, I'm encouraged to hear that, and I was not aware that things have, like the team, like your basketball team is. Well, I'm not sure you're having a great year this year, but no, but there really has been some very nice teamwork that's moving the institution forward. Let's talk a little bit about. You mentioned, Jennifer, like students and stakeholders, and I know there's lots of voices, right? People maybe have an expectation of 100% renewable tomorrow. I think Dave mentioned that. So, what are the important stakeholder groups that you engage with, but to the students in the room, how important is it they understand the technologies and what the central plant or the plan is? How important are students, and are they making your life cheerful or something else? Rob, and then Dave. Rob, any thoughts? Students?
Oh, sure, absolutely. It's a great follow-up question because it kind of ties in with the sustainability. So those of you that have my color hair that have been in this biz for a little bit, remember the days when that sustainability person came and knocked on your door and you went,
Yeah.
I was one of them, I'll admit it. I was anti-sustainability because I'm the old power plant guy, right? But as we get into it, we get to the basics and say, we're a support organization for the core mission of our university or our medical campus, whatever the case may be. And when you look at it in that manner and you see the students and the researchers and what's important to them, that's where the coupling comes about and
Right.
that light goes on. And the sustainability folks are kind of our bridge to that.
Right.
Our future as an organization is the future and the people that we bring in.
Right.
We market being socially conscious about carbon. We get donor money because we are.
Really?
We get people coming into the campus to do research because of our efforts. And it's amazing how impactful that piece of information is to the current operations of the campus as a whole and to our future. So we have to embrace it.
And you've also seen like an advantage of a convergence between sustainability, utilities, et cetera. I mean, it is sort of the natural progression. Bert, at Cornell, I know there's a lot of interested parties, faculty, town and gown issues, students. How is Cornell from a utilities? Well, I mean, you're sustainability, right? So, but you're like Shohei Ohtani. He can hit homers and steal bases. But no, I'm not kidding. All right. Maybe you're not Shohei.
What's your question?
The question is. All right, there's a question in here somewhere, right? So my question is, how is Cornell adapting to this new sort of open era of low carbon resilience and keeping the lights on? Has there been a transition among the departments at Cornell, an integration?
So this, I think, gives me an opportunity to talk about the Living Lab. So we have a robust, very vibrant academic and facilities partnership, right? And utilities infrastructure is a platform for teaching and research. And then it goes the other way. We involve our faculty in critical studies to help us do environmental impacts in some of our infrastructure projects. And I guess the other part of that is we are in a very environmentally aware community.
Right.
We're the big, the big bully on the hill. Our local town was the first town in the nation to pass anti-fracking regulations that went to New York State to ban fracking for high-volume hydrofracking for oil and gas. So we're in this very environmentally aware, vocal situation, And it really helps to involve our students and our faculty to get them involved in the solutions. I guess I'd say that. I can give you examples.
No, so you educate, you inform. Do they become ambassadors? Do they help you in the community? Are they defending you, or defending or challenging? I mean, it's probably a mix, right?
It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have, and it's a very. In fact, our president's emailing activists 2 weekends ago, and Saturday we get an email. So. All the way to the presidential level, where he's very busy with all kinds of other issues, but this has got his attention, it's got the Board of Trustees' attention, so it's a very interesting, challenging
Interesting
environment.
times,
Yes, it's
right?
very interesting times.
Yeah. Rob, yes, thanks, Bert.
I wanted to add something just to kind of grow off of that. And Mike Larson, our production director, is here with me this year too. Mike's done something that has really moved our utility operations forward. And it's simple, and y'all should do this. He opened the door.
Yeah.
He opened the door to the power plant. He gives tours to any group that wants to come through, any student group. He gives tours to the Girl Scouts and teaches them what engineering is about. And the community opinion of that big box in the corner of campus has drastically changed just because Mike reached out and said, we have nothing to hide. We're moving forward. We're doing a great job.
So open the doors,
Thanks for
a
that,
little more transparency. Dave, so you've done something similar, right, at Seattle University?
And just kind of come back. I think there's this piece of, you were talking about the relationship between sustainability and utilities, and there's this, for us, the sustainability department has done that, like reach out to faculty, to students, and kind of bringing everybody together. I mean, literally, if you got 5 engineers in the room and you want to talk about what your solution is going to be, you're going to get 5 different answers. You have a campus of 50,000, you very much get stuck in the paralysis of not moving anything forward when you're trying to do these grand changes. I mean, last I checked, there's no silver bullet of one way to do district energy on any campus. There's local conditions that apply that you would take advantage and make it different no matter where you are. And so doing things like tours of your power plant, Mark Kirschenbaum, who's my plant manager in the room, shout out, he's been doing tours for like 30 years, and they're fantastic. He has all these stories that he tells when he's doing the tour. What we started doing 2 years ago was adding this lens of, well, what does the campus of the future look like? And telling it from the context of how the plant has changed over the last 100 years. And this actually isn't like the only big change that's happened to the power plant in its 100-year history. It's just the next big change. Right. It's a big one. But how do you bring everybody on board? And these tours have gone beyond students. It started with like deans and VPs, and it extended to legislators and energy analysts and policymakers. So it's been a huge game changer for us in terms of bringing everybody together on what's the energy strategy look like for the University of Washington, so that we all are on the same page as we move forward, and then don't get blindsided by how come you didn't do this.
Well, and people can't help you if they don't understand you, right? Jennifer, more to add? Yeah.
I was just going to say the legislative piece is paramount. Like, we have this wonderful, beautiful new vet med plant with color-coded piping and a serious student component, and it's a showpiece. Yeah. We start off showing how that supports the vet med mission. Then we go to the Rabin plant from 1953. That literally has been concatenated to an amount of material that you can barely navigate through, supports, both the hospital as well as about half of the $1 billion worth of research. Right. Oldie but goodie, but it is at the end of its life. Yeah. So being able to show both of those stories of we're currently here, but we could be like over here for vet med, helps tell the story in ways that you really can't otherwise.
So they can appreciate it. They can visualize, kick the tires. Jessica, thanks, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No, I was going to add to just what everyone said. I mean, the problems that we're trying to solve for now are such long-range problems.
Right.
So, I mean, bringing the students in to be a part of the solution, to be at the table as we're able to create that, helps yes, they're going to school in many cases to study this, but that's part of the education. And so we're really helping to shape their journey. And we've found in similar ways to what everyone said, really leaning in to students who have very important voices. I mean, at Columbia, we have a really, unique students that, very activist-based, right? And there's two ways you can go. You can try and hide from that, or you can try and engage with that. And engaging has been always the more productive, positive route.
Right.
And has paid its back in spades on both sides, creating unique experiences for students to take their brain power and to feel like they're contributing to making things better at their campus is incredible. And it really has been helpful to so many departments that maybe had been skeptical about bringing in, students and sharing information with students. And you go through a capstone or two, or you work with an intern or two, and you're like, wow, this is, when can I put another project in? I mean, it really kind of,
Well, that's so encouraging. That's so encouraging. Dano, thanks, Jessica.
I really want to reinforce what Jessica just said. I think it's so critical. We think of all of our operational dilemmas as learning opportunities for our students. And when we do that, then we're really truly having impact, and those actions that we're taking have impact. So, quick story, Rob Thornton's a Tufts graduate. He told me Tufts changed his life and he decided to go into energy, right? So institutionally, I get to take credit for all of this. But that's truly what we want to do. We want to be preparing students for the challenges that are confronting them in this world, and inviting them into our planning processes and into our dilemmas is the way to do that.
It's so important. Thanks, Dano, and you can take all the credit, and I'm happy to share. Dave, and then Bert. Dave?
Yeah, sure. Just want to add one little quick thing. 2.5 years ago, a bunch of students chained themselves to the stack at our power plant.
Yeah.
Upset that we were using, fracking gas and that we weren't moving fast enough. Today, some of those students are actually part of a Huskies on the Hill program, going to legislators in Olympia at the state capitol.
Wow.
Promoting our plan with legislators.
Interesting.
It's a nice.
Yeah. Well, obviously these are young people, passionate, and with the right injection of information, maybe they become advocates, right? So, but that's a process that takes time. Bert,
Maybe I could connect student and community involvement with this deep borehole.
Yeah, please.
So let me talk about that.
Yes, please.
Okay. So part of the Living Lab, a project came out of our faculty to use deep direct use of heat to heat the campus. So 3 kilometers down, almost 2 miles, you get 180-degree temperatures, even in the east. So it's called next generation geothermal, and it involves the tools that are used in fracking, directional drilling, and high volume stimulation to create an open fracture network. So you can send water down, return from campus, send it down, flow it through the open fracture network, bring it into a production well, and send it to campus at 180. It's been demonstrated for electric production out in Utah very successfully for the first time in 50 years of trying. So we set out with a DOE grant to put a borehole in right adjacent to campus, where we could, in fact, eventually have a production well pair. The advantages of doing such a thing, less footprint than thousands and thousands of boreholes for shallow geothermal ground wells, and 2, presumably less electricity because you don't need a heat pump. So we put that out to bid, like we put out buildings, and we got no bids. Turns out the gas industry coming out of Pennsylvania would have to drill this. They do everything on a time and material basis, and all risks are the owner-operator, Cornell. So we had to rebid it. Long story. So in 2022, we actually drilled it. We brought a drill rig up. 70 tractor trailers came to drill this, and drilled nonstop 24/7 throughout the summer for about 3 months. We had weekly open houses for the community. Faculty talked to anybody who wanted to come and learn what we're doing. Students were employed on site to help analyze the cuttings that came up. And it was a very successful project. Like I say, the ground zero for anti-fracking where we are using those technologies, but because we are not going after oil and gas, so far, knock on wood somewhere, we haven't had too much opposition.
So that's interesting. You've kind of turned the argument on its head. You're fracking to get clean heat, and fracking by itself isn't bad, but it's sort of, what are you extracting, right? So very interesting. But you do have a 3,000 meter deep hole. What's the diameter of it? 8 inches?
At the bottom, it's 8.5 inches.
8.5 inches. Oh.
About 8 inches.
And the intent is to hopefully maybe decarbonize the campus using direct heat from. So that's a technology. Is there another? I mean, I forget who said no silver bullet. It might have been Dave. I think that you all believe that. But are there technologies? And by the way, in the room are many technology providers, people that are making next generation heat pumps, meters, controls, etc. So here's 2 questions, right? Is there a technology that's kind of emerging as a front runner, that you're looking at that really seems to be big part of the solution? And 2, how would you adapt that technology? Like, what would make life really better in terms of your objectives, which are efficiency, resilience, cost, and carbon? So I'm lobbing a beach ball, but anybody? Dave?
Sure, I'll jump. Not a silver bullet, but like I said, like local conditions at your campus are going to be different everywhere, and man, we've got everything. I mean, we're urban settings, so we're in the city, so we've got access to the regional sewer. We've got Lake Washington, which is a deep lake similar to Cordell with Lake Cayuga. And there's a whole neat little story with the salmon, but that's maybe for another day. And the fact that Seattle used to be like really cool in the summer, like 72-degree design temperatures. Now it's like 80, 90s. But it means we got a district cooling system for the campus, and that waste heat from the cooling system in a relatively mild climate is fantastic. So 70% of our natural gas can get displaced from the heat that is presently thrown away through our cooling towers to the atmosphere and put into the sewer when you're taking your shower and the warm water goes down the drain. So
wait, you said 70% of your heat it could be recovered from?
Could be replaced by.
Oh, okay.
So it's it's Ted Boer. Where's Ted Boer? It's over here. Like he always talks about the big pivot that is happening now is this move from combustion of natural gas and boilers to energy transfer using electricity and heat pumps. You still have the problem that no matter how efficient that heat pump is, it's the incremental electron and where that's coming from is the issue.
Right.
But that pivot, and then it's what the sources of that heat pump is tapping into. And at Utah, we got 3 awesome ones. Our overall project, although massively capital intensive, on a cost per ton differential of what we'd have to pay anyway is $147 a ton. And that feels like a really, really economical number given what we get out of it, from the electrical upgrades to decarbonization to a resilient, reliable campus.
And it'll have actual carbon benefit as opposed to RECs that you're paying extreme prices for that may or may not necessarily. Exactly. So Dave, okay, so I heard energy transition, recovering heat, the energy sharing approach, as opposed to the energy dumping, right? Other technologies that are emerging? Rob, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That beach ball you just threw, and I'm going to hit it back at you here because, all those things we're worried about. Now, my friends at PRVN told me that I shouldn't say this, and you said don't be controversial, but I have to say this, okay? I like coal. And I know that's not the popular thing to say. I said it in one of the presentations we did here at IDEA. But if you think about the placement of the University of Illinois in central Illinois, there's a lot of coal mines. Yeah. I'm old enough to remember a lot of people that in our community worked at the coal mines. They're all closed down now. It's a great asset that helps us bridge to the renewables to be carbon free. We're doing a lot of research at the University of Illinois for the carbon sequestration where we can clean up the coal. We were a leader in clean coal technology with the Chiota scrubber that we installed at Abbott Power Plant many decades ago. It's, 30 years, Mike, something like that. But I still see coal as being a transitionary fuel because of all of the sunk capital we have in the plant, and the technology isn't there yet to be really economical. So that's, I think, some of our jobs as utility professionals is to help them realize that we can bridge this gap a little bit and still accelerate our decarbonization.
But don't
I know
throw
you
the
don't
baby
like
out.
that. I know.
But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Bert,
Yeah, yeah.
And then, yes.
So I don't think there's a silver bullet, but I think integration of multiple different technologies,
Okay.
which is it's more difficult and,
Yes.
and more complex. But if you can take all these different ideas, pick and choose, that's what I think we're going to have to do.
And have them in a basket, right, and available, right? So when the gas gets curtailed, you've got something else. When the price of power goes, through the roof, you're not buying it, you're making it. Those sorts of things.
I think at some point you have to make a decision and go.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It may be an integration.
Yeah, you've got to choose, right? You've got to select the technologies. But I guess my question, I know it's a beach ball, and it was kind of a dumb question, but I mean. We're talking about the energy transition, right? So part of that is like not looking at the tips of your skis, but at the bumps downhill. And when you look ahead, like, is there anything that is going to, kind of help you get there faster, smoother, better? Jessica, I mean, is it electrification because of Local Law 97, or something else, a combination?
I guess I'd answer that just what we've done to date, coming out of our sustainability plan, one of the recommendations was that we do an electrification study to understand these different pathways. And the initial recommendation was to go low temperature hot water, and we're doing some due diligence on that right now to sort of just better understand the trade-offs, which is kind of what you're talking about. Like, there's a couple of directions we could go. What do those bumps look like? And if we went one way, what would be the bump we'd avoid if we went another way? So we're thinking about that. We've also got this huge sprawling residential portfolio that is also a huge percentage of our overall emissions. And so trying to figure out, do we do this at an individual building scale? Do we look at a more systematic approach? We were talking about that with a couple of folks last night, thinking about how do we create more of a system out of those blocks of buildings. Right. Just thinking about that. And the idea of carbon capture, we really haven't looked at as heavily at that. So those are some of the things. I know that's not a very direct answer, but
no. It's representative of the situation you're in, right? It's like you have a basket of challenges, and locationally they're different, right? So it's not one size fits all. It's not magic wand, everything's solved, right? Okay. Anybody, Dana, what's it looking like here?
Well, I guess I want to pick up. I'm going to pick up on Rob's point because he threw it out there. So let's pick it up. Let's do this. Yeah. Right. I would love carbon capture and storage to be economic and effective, and it's not yet. I would love fusion to be economic and effective, and it's not yet. I am a big fan of technological innovation, but those things are not here now in an economic way. And there are things that are here now that are reasonably economic that we can deploy, and we have great examples of them being deployed. And the climate's really not going to wait. Yeah. We really do. There really is urgency here. And so I want those technologies to come online. I want them to be effective. I want them to be economic. So I'm a big fan of innovation, but I'm a big fan of we've got stuff going here now. I would love it if high temperature heat pumps were just slightly more efficient.
Did you hear that?
Come on,
heat
pump
controls?
People.
Just a little bump it. We just need a few more degrees, and I think they're working on it.
They are.
I know they are.
Yeah. Because reality is, Dano, I don't mean to put words. We don't have time. We really don't have time to wait. And these new kind of promising technologies are just not there. It's not a bridge too far, but not connected yet, right? So we can't really integrate them yet. We can plan for that, but in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions that I'm always right when you are advancing a radical energy transformation on your campus, your trustees, one of the first questions out of their mouth is, shouldn't we wait for X?
Yeah, right.
Because I would be more comfortable waiting for X, because what you're talking about is making me uncomfortable, right? So that's a delay tactic. And like, I love all of the innovations that are out there, but they are not ready for prime time. So let's do this thing.
Yeah, and in the end, you have to keep the lights on and keep the mice warm. And Dave?
I'm just getting excited here sitting beside Dano. I mean, he's like got this call to action and passion that's coming right out here. And I mean, really, across this whole room, I mean, when we talk, look, okay, step back. One of the things that was going on in the state of Washington was all this great legislation that was coming to both the city and the state level, and it was all focused on decarbonizing buildings.
Buildings.
Great. You know, on our campus, 200 buildings, 4 buildings a year. We'll see you in 50 years when we're done, and we'll be decarbonized. It's not fast enough, right? And we work, all of us, all of you work in an industry of district energy that actually has the ability to go faster than 50 years with technology that exists today, different to every local spot that you're in. And absolutely, in 10 years, it's a short time but a long time, we can do this. And we are in an industry in a position to do this, and we should do this, and we need to do this. Because we say the money's got to be spent anyway to reinvest all the old infrastructure we have on our campus. Oh, okay.
But, yeah. Well, I mean, that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. So we're getting close on time. I'd like to kind of lob an open softball to any of you. So sitting where you are, if you were a student or a young person and you're looking ahead at a career, what advice would you give to someone? Not that there's a whole range. There are some students here, but what would you suggest as a way to get started, as a way to make a career, as a way to make a living? Because I've heard some of you say, when you meet students and they meet you, they ask, how do I get your job? Yeah? So how do they get your job? Bert, I'll start with you.
Well, I first say, hang in there, be tough in school. They're throwing triple integrals at you. You won't have to use calculus the rest of your career if you could. If I didn't anyway. That's a good thing. I'd say go out in the field, get some action. Go to an operating plant where there's a lot of rotating equipment, safety first, or go build something. Just get out where it's going to take you outside your comfort zone. You're going to learn a lot of stuff about the world, working with the working class people, working with, meeting budgets and everything. So just get out there and mix it up, either in construction or an operating plant.
Excellent. Thanks, Bert. Jennifer, I mean, you've had a very interesting career, and certainly as a woman in this space, it's it has its own challenges. But how do they get your job? Would they want it? I don't know.
I like it.
Good. That's great. Yeah.
I would say that there's a moment in every engineer's life where they feel betrayed by their education. You graduate, all right, I am an engineer, and then you go out into the workplace and they talk about 15 different types of valves, and you're like, didn't cover that. I would say that a healthy balance of getting face time with leaders, but also getting face time with mechanics and operators.
Right.
They're the true people that benefit from a well-designed system. You have to understand their perspective, and also not only are they often hilarious, but they will give you life lessons so that you never look at a piece of equipment the same again.
Yeah.
I think you need both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very good. That's interesting. Jessica,
Yeah.
talking to a young person, coaching a young person.
So I think that the first thing is really important is to try and understand what really lights you up and what you're really passionate about.
Yeah.
I think if you can hit that, you never work a day in your life. That's the first thing. I went to Colgate. I mentor a lot of Colgate students. I'm really proud alum. And we do a lot of career initiatives with them. And one of the biggest things we always say is to find the intersection. We tend to think of careers in lanes, which is easy to do. If you want to go in engineering, that's a firm lane.
Yeah.
For sustainability folks, and perhaps even folks that work in utility and engineering, find an intersection. I mean, there's so many industries that this work intersects with. If you really like working in a hospital, there's a place for you to do this work in a hospital,
Right.
or in law, or in real estate. All right, so find the intersection. It opens up different doors and ways to think about things that doesn't make it feel as constricting.
Yep.
And find mentors and really work to stay in touch with them and to learn from as many people that you see doing the kind of work as you'd want to do.
So, and just to echo, it sounds to me like IDEA should be more engaged in helping people navigate, find the intersection, really just understand, what's available through participating on industry, whether it's a consulting entry or a mechanical, provider or a sustainability office in turning up, et cetera. Yeah.
Can I add one more thing
Yeah.
too? I think what would be important too is, technical training for people that are doing sustainability work, especially if you're working with folks like all of you on the stage, I think would be very helpful, just to kind of close that gap of being able to understand each other. We speak different languages in some places, so that's been helpful for me, and I have some mentors, that have really helped me along the way, and to sort of say, hey, you should look at this, you think about this, but I think that may be even a place where IDA can be helpful.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you. Rob, what would you offer to someone who's really trying to think how can they make a difference and make a career or a path?
Sure, it's hard to really go further than what they've said.
Yes,
The whole panel's brought up some good things. Follow the passion. I mean, you have to follow your passion. And if you think about our industry, I mean, there's chemistry, there's physics, there's engineering, there's business, there's law. I mean, there's all kinds of things within our industry. But the other side of that, too, is that we're facing a huge shortage of skilled labor, and I'm sure a lot of you are as well. And we need to find ways to get people involved in that as well, because that's crucial to our operations going forward. But I would like to thank IDEA's board and staff for bringing the students into this, because we're kind of a behind-the-scenes business that I always make the joke that nobody knows the utility guys are around until the lights go out, and then you're a jerk, right? So there's a lot of young people that don't know what this business is, and I thank you and your staff and the board for making this something that's much bigger than it's been in the past.
Well,
Good
you're
job.
welcome. You're welcome. And really, Joan Kowal deserves a lot of credit for that, and sort of trying to move the ship forward. And Dave on our executive committee, and Jennifer as well. So, Dano, before we get to Dave, final thought. I know Tufts is a very passionate place, a lot of talent, a lot of really innovative young folks. How can they get on board?
I talk to a ton of students, right? Constant stream through my office. And really, I tell them a few things. Engage in a problem you're interested in. Find people you like working with. And for that first job, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good enough. Because that first job is the hardest one to get. Do something that makes you reasonably happy. And then you'll eventually, I didn't have my job when I got out of college, right? I was building cabinets in Pawtucket. So, you're going to be fine, and just go find that first job, and, we're here to help you.
Work hard, show up, break a sweat.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dave, last thought.
Okay, a couple things. One, totally relate to Rob's comment of, power goes out and everyone's mad at you. Just add the wrinkle. There was a spot where we had a power outage on campus when I had my two oldest daughters on the campus, and I'm dealing with the power outage, and I get text messages that say, Dad, the Wi-Fi's down.
Oh. Priorities.
Life of the utility guy. But look, I think that when I graduated, I had no idea that even, district energy was even a thing, let alone an industry. And when we do the tours of the power plant, one of the most common comments from students is, oh, I always wanted to know what is going on here. And so I think we have, but yet when I give guest lectures about what we're doing on our campus, I get that question, Rob, of, how do I get your job? And so I think number one, we gotta be out there to let people know that this industry exists, and so what the stuff the board is doing is fantastic in that way. And then, the other two little bits of advice is, if you want to do this industry, take a thermodynamics class, because there's a couple laws there that,
Can't be broken.
Ted could do a little quick 101 course on that you have to follow. But learn how you learn. The technology's changing, the world is changing, every spot is different, but if you can learn how you learn, you can apply yourself into any situation, and you literally can do anything, and follow your passion. We'll leave it at that.
There you go. And I want to thank our panelists for being available, for sharing their experience, their insight. I hope you found this to be a nutritious conversation. All of you will be available throughout the conference, and I think would welcome any one-on-one. Before you go, I have a small gift of appreciation. But let's give them a nice round of applause, if you would, our panelists. Okay? And I just have a couple of housekeeping notes, so if you just want to sit and relax for 5 minutes while I close things up, is that cool? Rather than, okay, all right, so just sit tight, I'll finish up, and we'll get this party started. So thank you. So, slides on me. Just some final housekeeping before I release you. So we are very interested if your system is decarbonizing. You heard this morning from our panelists that they are making these efforts. And what we would like to do through our Carbon Count program is for you to help us understand what progress you're making so that we can aggregate those results and make them available both to students and to faculty and to the media. Were you lined up for a question?
If possible. I thought we were
Sure, please. Question, Mike, we'll digress. Question, sir.
Okay, so there's 6 campuses here, and I wonder if there's a common metric that all of you share for measuring this energy transition, and I wonder if there's a challenge to having better metrics, or maybe you think a report card isn't productive.
Okay. Interesting, because you're all coming from different locations, different venues, different sources, et cetera. Is there a common model? Bert, then Rob. I'll go to Rob and then Bert.
We use the ASHE, American Association for Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education metric system. It's very comprehensive. It goes everything from academics, but also to decarbonization. And we report into that using standard greenhouse gas accounting. Comes down from the World Resource Institute. Controversial, we also do supplementary, because upstream methane emissions from the production of natural gas is part of that greenhouse gas emissions, which we report on too.
And Bert, that methodology is AASHE?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and we use that same platform for Carbon Count. Jennifer?
I just wanted to put a plug in for IDEA Carbon Count, actually, because there's a number of different ways to calculate greenhouse gas, and that methodology homogenizes it across the campuses, and so it's a great tool. If you haven't submitted your data, I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I mean, we do try to, it does try to simplify both and sort of normalize, right, the conditions. And we think it is generally like an internationally accepted, paradigm. So Jennifer and then Rob, any thoughts, Jennifer? I'm sorry, Jessica.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Greenhouse gas inventory is the way that we really measure the progress against all of our goals. We use the International Greenhouse Gas Protocol, which is probably in alignment with a lot of what's been mentioned, and we verify it third party through the climate registry.
So in terms of carbon, I don't know if there's a normalized, energy utility index, et cetera. I'm sure there's, different. You use these for sort of measuring the energy density of your various assets. Rob, and anyone else? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the same.
Same.
Yep.
Okay. Dano?
So yes, on greenhouse gas protocol, But I just want to point out that higher education institutions are super diverse, and the way that we contribute to solving the problem is really diverse. So sometimes that's through our research enterprise and faculty who are actually figuring out the carbon capture and storage solution. Sometimes, if you're a community college and you're training drillers and electricians, that's really important. And so our impacts are multiple and different. So I think it's how we define ourselves and our own impact, and then our decarbonization also using the standard metrics.
Yeah. Thank you. Dave?
Just add two other quick ones. Energy use intensity,
Right.
blended average for the campus.
Right.
And then I used one of my answers here, which was cost per ton of your intervention or your change initiative versus the business as usual.
Cost per ton of carbon, yes?
Cost per ton of carbon.
Okay, yeah, so EUI.
Cost per ton of carbon that you're eliminating.
Yeah, so those are sort of the, your LCL or your, blood pressure. Those are sort of the most effective, I think, measures. Let me also, and again, I'm trying to wrap here so we can get you out with our exhibitors and recaffeinate, and I'd like to urge you to put on your calendar some future IDA conferences, shameless plug. Join us in June in Minneapolis. Cordia will be hosting us. The Twin Cities are a hotbed of district energy, a lot of innovation and investment occurring. In December, we'll be going to Dubai, back to Dubai. If you've not been to Dubai, I would urge you to submit a paper, get in the program. It is a remarkable and global leader in district cooling. It's just remarkable. So we're having a conference, and we haven't formalized it yet, but our friends from Empower are here. I see Ramesh. So we'll be announcing our event in Dubai in December. This conference will be in Washington, D.C. Next February, and we'll be hosting the Global Climate Awards with our partners from Euroheat and Power and the International Energy Agency. That program is open for submittal. It's like our IDEA System of the Year, but it is really very much a global challenge. So I think many of you would be, highly probable participants in the Global District Energy Climate Awards. And then finally, next June, June 26th, we'll be bringing the annual conference to Ottawa, which is the federal seat of Canada. Hopefully they still will invite us, but the district energy system there has undergone a massive shift and change and investment. We're talking billions of dollars, and we're going to be so pleased to be showcasing that innovation and investment with our friends from Canada next year. But please think about joining us in Minneapolis for our annual conference. It'll be our 115th annual conference. Campus Energy again next year in Washington, D.C., and then Ottawa in 26. And if you're curious about any of these programs, please come and see our IDEA staff. And now I'm going to invite you to join us in with the business partners. So that means, I think, you've got to go up to the lobby, up, over, and down to the exhibit hall. So you have to make your way across the hotel. But before we break, I want to thank our sponsors for that break, Ecosystem and Stanley Consultants. Let's give them a nice round of applause. So we're going to allow you 40 minutes to meet with our exhibitors, and then we'll be back in this room for our recognition luncheon, and we hope you'll join us then. So thank you so much for your time and attention this morning, and we'll see you with the business partners in the exhibit hall. Thank you.